Brian, you guys have had some big moments here, obviously against LAFC, more notably the Western Conference Final a few years ago. Could you speak a little bit about the little bit of the rivalry that you guys have established, and you guys coming here and playing another tough game against LAFC?
Yeah, I mean, so far I think the record shows that in the regular season they have our number. Playoffs, I think we're ahead of them. But it's like I said, I mean, I think it's two organizations that are, built on winning and success. And, we have high expectations, high standards that we set. And so does Bob, so does LAFC. So anytime you have two really aggressive franchises going against each other in big games, it starts to become a rivalry.
Next question I see is from Maz Vida. Maz, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Brian, the value of the young guys stepping up in a big game like this, like you're saying, in a rivalry, away from home, just the value of that early in the season. Can you just talk about that, please?
Who are you talking about? The young guys?
Yeah, I'm sorry, like Ethan, and Asensio coming in and just, making a difference in a big rivalry game like this, what that does to their confidence.
Well, I mean, look, Josh was very good again, exceeded our expectations. That was a tough game for the kid to come in and play. He played well. There's a couple of little moments where, we'll fine-tune it. He can play a little better. I thought Ethan came in and, look, the first foul might have thrown him off a little bit. He might have been a little bit nervous, but he looked, the game was pretty big for him. We'll make adjustments with him. We'll watch film with him. We'll get him back up on the horse. I mean, they were both fine, Maz. I'm very pleased with the young players, all of them on our squad. They work every day. They're learning every day. So happy. And again, just I'll repeat myself. I mean, Josh had another good performance.
Thanks.
Just a reminder, guys, if you do have a question, go ahead and hit that raise hand function so we can get you in the queue. The next one I'm seeing is from Jada Evans of Seattle Times. Jada, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thanks. Excuse me. Hi. Wanted to ask a little bit about Javier. He had the foul that led up to the goal early, and then also the yellow card. Kind of wanted to see, or if you could share a little bit on how you review his game.
Well, I mean, look, it was not a good foul to give up in that area of the field. Obviously, whether it's a Twester, Vela, Valeri, I mean, you never want to give up fouls in that part of the field, especially early on in the game. We messaged the group that, LAFC was going to come out right from the referee's whistle and press and get after us and stuff like that. So that was a little bit disappointing. But stuff like that happens, Jada. I mean, games aren't won or lost in the first minute. I think he recovered. I think some of the stuff he did with the ball certainly was good. So overall, it was an okay performance by my standards.
All right, next up, I'm seeing Alonso Contreras. Alonso, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thanks again, Alex. How are you, Coach? Coach, I wanted to ask you about the substitution on the 82nd minute. That was to come back with, to protect the result and come back home with a point, or play the old formation and looking for the 3 points?
You mean when I brought Will off?
Yes, Coach.
No, we were going for the win. Thought Ethan could come in and do something. I mean, we never make subs for, just to hold a point unless it's late in the game and injury time, stoppage time, you waste time. But all of our substitutions are always to try and win games.
Nico Moreno, you are next. Mickey Turner, you're on deck. Nico, please go ahead and bring yourself off mute to ask your question.
Thank you, Matt. Alex. Hi, Coach. I just wanted to ask you on overall performance and perhaps what you wanted to execute on the field. How would you rate the game? And secondly, when it comes to the defensive form against 4-3-3, do you feel like there's some difficulty?
You faded off there, Nico, but I'll try and answer your question as best I can. Overall, the tactics I thought were very good. I think the team is kind of getting some of the nuances of playing in 3-4-1-2. You know, if I start to your question of some of our attacking movements, then I'll answer the question about the defending. I mean, look, the good part about having two forwards can be, okay, look, I'll start with, Brad's goal. If you guys really watch that play, and I know some of you guys make ratings after games, you guys have to watch games and really identify what's going on. The fact that the ball comes out and Will is actually drawing two center backs and Raul is in between Farfan and the other center back, and Raul gets his head on the ball from a great cross from Alex. And that's exactly what Will is supposed to do. He draws attention. Maybe if it's a near post ball, he scores himself. But I like that. If you look at Christian's shot against the post in the 24th minute, the way Will checks off and, he dummies the ball. And again, having an extra forward in there gives you a little bit of creativity. The center back steps tight onto Will and, Will dummies it and Christian's in on goal. Maybe even could have slipped Raul. I don't know. Rebound comes back to Josh. But some of those attacking movements were very good. Raul's chance late in the game, he says that he just mistimed his jump a little bit. Another good ball by Alex. So offensively, I think, Nico, it's been very good. And to your point, defensively against a 4-3-3 or against 4-2-3-1 against Minnesota, look, it's MLS, it's pro sport. You're going to give up some chances. But, I didn't really feel too threatened. Obviously, they're missing Rossi, Vela, some of their best players. I understand that. But again, defensively, I thought Shane stepped into some of those soft areas very well, was aggressive in there, knew who, again, had a good performance. So, yes, I think defensively against 4-3-3, against LAFC, I think we did okay.
Mickey, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Alex. Coach, just wanted to get your thoughts. You talked a little bit about what Will Bruin did. He obviously didn't get on the score sheet. Christian said he was massive for you guys today, and just the way he was holding up the ball and laying things off and kind of relieving pressure. So just wanted to hear a little bit about what you thought about his performance, even though he didn't score.
Well, it gives us an option. I mean, look, we knew LAFC was going to press. So again, how do we make adjustments? So the first goal kick that we had was a planned long pass from Javi to Will to just set the tone of how we were going to play. So Will did his best. LAFC put us under pressure. We got stuck a couple of times, and then all of a sudden you have Will with big shoulders and a big heart and a big fight in him. He won some clean headers. He was able to hold possession of the ball. He fought with two big center backs. Again, allowing Raul to operate in some of those spaces. So I would agree with Christian's assessment that a lot of times players play well and they don't end up on the score sheet.
Naz, I see you have a follow-up. We'll get over to you in a second here. I'll just go to Felipe Makeda first for his first question. Felipe, go ahead and ask your question.
So thank you, Alex. Coach Brian. So the game was a hard game from the beginning to the end. I'd like to ask you, how do you leave the last 5 minutes of the game?
Well, it was two teams trying to figure out a way how to win the game and not just leave it a tie. So credit to Bob and his team. They're at home. They're pressing the issue. And we had to defend in some moments there. But, again, there were some chances that we could have had. Overall, Felipe, you bring up a good question. I mean, the one thing that I don't think did so well in the game was, once we did break past their pressure, some of the movements in the final third, in the first half, even in the second half, we could have been a little more patient. I think we could have made them chase the ball a little bit more. Our possession needed to be a little bit better in critical moments. And then maybe it wouldn't have been, such a struggle towards the end of the game, or maybe we could have got the second goal and, would have opened up the game for us.
Maz, we'll go back to you for follow-up.
Okay, thanks. Brian, I think Christian alluded to this, that as the game went on, you guys got stronger in the wings. Is that fair to say that, especially towards the end of the game?
Well, we had a lot of good attacks coming from the right-hand side, Maz, and Brad obviously scored the goal from the left-hand side. That is what we want our wing backs to do. Alex, Kellen, Brad, Madranda, who's ever playing wing back, they're supposed to get into the penalty box when the cross comes from the opposite side. So that's by design. So yes, our wing play can be strong because we have 3 center backs to cover, plus usually 1 midfielder, so that's 4. So we want them, we encourage them to get involved in the attacking movements and even get on the end of crosses or plays. You know, that's just the way we set the team up.
And then can that be a weapon, if I may follow, late in the game to be able to flood those zones then offensively?
Yeah, but okay, yes. But again, Maz, I mean, we had taken Will out of the game. Raul certainly is good in the air, but, you know, we need to get back to attacking the prime assist zone late in the games because you got heavy legs, heavy, tired defenders. And if you can get the ball all the way to the end line and have cutbacks, it's a lot harder for those guys to defend rather than balls from 30 yards out where they're facing forward. And, you know, it's an easier ball for them to defend or the goalkeeper to come out and collect. So there again, it goes back to the patience in that final third, and you know we'll make those adjustments.
Thank you,
guys. Are there any final follow-ups? Jason Mitchell, I saw you had a hand raised, and I don't see it anymore. Are you good? And does anybody have any final questions?
Sure, I'll go.
Go ahead,
Coach. Josh Asensio's just playing so darn well, but you're awfully stacked in the heart of the park. Is there a path forward for him to keep getting minutes once Nico's healthy?
Sure. Of course there is. He's a good kid, good player.
All right. And the last question here that I'm seeing, we'll go over to Mickey Turner once again. Mickey.
Thanks, Alex. Coach, just wanted to get your thoughts on Alex's performance. It seems like he's raised his game a little bit, and the position you got him in this new formation really suits him, sending in crosses from wide positions.
Yeah, he played well again today, but you know, again, he's a younger player, younger-ish, not a lot of MLS experience, so it's still a work in progress. But certainly, this does, you know, suit some of his talents. You saw that very evidently today.